Hi, today we're going to talk about busting the myth around international students taking jobs from Australian people. However, before I start, I'd like to welcome everyone. And my name is Emilia Lingi, and I will start by a quote from Paulo Freire, which he states that education is freedom, the means by which we deal critically and creatively with reality. This quote resonates deeply with what we're going to talk about today because it's about understanding that migration requires critical thinking and it's about empathy. Migration is not just a number or policy, it's not just words on paper, it's about people's life experience and opportunity. It really resonates with me deeply because I myself am a migrant to Australia and I myself came as an international student this way. So I have done my journey before I was able to claim Australian citizenship. So I'll talk about society and how society views foreigners in general, whether international students or other types of migrants that are coming through with various visas. So first of all, the we once we can start understanding that migration, so people who come through to work in a country, they're actually shaping the economy, the education, and the society in general, whether it's here in Australia or any other country. So a migrant is classified a person that leaves their own country, their own birth country, where they claim citizenship to go and live in another country to try and make a new start or create new opportunities for themselves, at times for their families back home, as well as maybe their upcoming family as children. However, migrants always facing myths and stereotypes. They're misrepresented about what they bring to that country and how much they actually contribute. It can be difficult for them to feel included, and also we're going to look at the challenges that they face. The myths that we're going to look at the myths surrounding labor migrants and international students in Australia specifically, with some research and real world case studies. And we'll examine both the challenges that migrants face, as well, including precarity and hyper precarity, and the ways in which they contribute economically, socially, and culturally. And at the end, we will look at some approaches that we can use to build more migrant inclusive society, starting from university programs or university in general, as well as other education facilities. And then we can take in consideration the ethical consideration in research with the policy making. So one of the major myths that comes with a migrant from a local person of that country, so in this case from an Australian person, is that migrants are coming to take our jobs. Migrants have taken all our opportunities. Migrants are filling our schools and universities, and so they're always negatively thinking about what a migrant bring to the country. However, they don't consider that currently in Australia we have a high shortage in certain areas for employment. So people we have, like example, the healthcare is lacking nurses, is lacking doctors, is lacking all different types of areas or cohorts within that sector of people filling in the gaps, as in working with people with different abilities or in the aged care facilities, as well as in general in community service, mental health, youth work, or community development. Same goes for hospitality and agricultural sectors. So working in rural areas, in the farms, in the heat, under the sun. So the migrants are actually filling in those types of jobs where local Australians are not currently working in or do not want to work in. So I would like to, to talk about the myth that we're not taking jobs, we're actually bringing more to the country. And what we are doing is complementing. We're actually complementing rather than competing with the local workforce. Then we have the policy and the visa restriction shapes employment access and workplace equity. So that's around the myth around what the policy looks like, what a visa looks like, and what and also what is available to international students. One of the myths directly tailored to international students is that they are cash cows. So what the media teaches us. So again, this is what I called knowledgeable ignorance. So is what the media teaches society, which usually is just news to create interest, so people will watch it. So they portrays that international students as a revenue source rather than an academic contributor. So international students pay high fees to study in Australia, so therefore they're bringing in a lot of money. So this is putting again a stigma on a person. So it's actually dehumanizing a student and ignores the culture, the academic and the social contributor that they're actually doing. So looking again in certain skill set or areas or sectors, we'll find that a lot of international students are working in those areas. Um, so the contribution that the international student brings to Australia is actually underrepresented. I'm referencing Robertson and Nyland and et al. For this research that I've done. Um, Another myth is that migrants don't pay taxes and um, that they will take all the money back to their country and that they bringing their ways and their cultures, and which is true. A migrant comes with their morals, their values, their traditions, with their language. However, again, this contributes to a society, actually does not, it does not take away from it. When a migrant is usually moving from one country to another, their intention is to actually be productive, to create opportunity, to make a better life for themselves. And as well as they bring diversity and creativity in the local communities. And hence why now when we walk down the streets, you will find many cuisines along the main streets of a suburb. You have your Asian cuisines, all the different types of Asian cuisines from different type of Asian countries, and we have from Mexican, Brazilian, many Italian, many Greek. So that's what we bring to the country. And then exclusionary rhetoric reduces opportunities for integration and mutual learning, which is not true. It's when we come here as a migrant, we want to integrate, we want to get to know. We want to get to know the local culture and what local people do, and that's again, it's a myth attached that we just want to be with ourselves. So I'm referencing OECD and ABS with this slide. So migration and the development nexus. So migration links sending and receiving countries economically, socially, and culturally. So, as I said, as we come, we look after ourselves, we grow, we build, we create a life in a new country. However, it's interacted with also the other country. It's to improve our livelihoods and also to access education. We come here to study because education right now that is provided in Australia is better than where we come from. And as we study here, we're gaining skills, we experience a life abroad and diaspora, and we enhancing global human capital. That means that if we do return back to our country, we are going back with innovative skills, with westernized skills, with different projects that are working. So we're evidence-based projects. So we know this has worked in this country. Hence why Australia also uses American projects or American authors to refer back to. The development, the outcomes depends on the policy protecting the rights, fair work, and inclusion. Unfortunately, we do have that develop the policies need to continuously change to protect the rights of a migrant, as sometimes they get misused within this country. Precarity in migrant life. So migrants face unstable employment, insecure housing, and limited welfare access. Temporary visa increase vulnerability by linking work rights to employers. So when a migrant comes with a visa, it comes also with rules, and the rules may not be broken. Precarity extends to psychological strain, social isolation, and restriction mobility. And also addressing visa insecurity promotes social inclusion and migrants. So I'm coming with a visa, I have a label on me, I have to restrict myself under those rules, and I don't know what's going to happen next when my visa expires. So therefore, I constantly have this thinking. I'm constantly thinking, what's next. Then we have hyper precarity. So that's temporary migration and employment dependency intensify insecurity and international students. So that includes exploitation, low wages, and limited career. Lots of migrants themselves that have their own business hire international students cash in hand, paying them $15, $20 an hour, at times even less than that. So we definitely have to talk about it, or sometimes they would register people for certain hours, but they work more, pay less. So there's a lot of exploitation going on. Why do international students not say anything about this? Because there's fear of deportation or visa loss. So they just submit to the conditions so that they can continue chasing their dreams and their goals. I'm referencing here Robertson. So in the Philippines, again, it's one of the case studies that I show. So the migration development paradox refers to the contradictory relationship between labor migration and national development. So on one hand, overseas Filipino workers contribute significantly to the Philippines economic economy through remittance. So these funds improve living standards, education, and local businesses. So as a Filipino comes to work in Australia, they're sending money home, so they're increasing the future and the livelihood, or the skills that their own family have back home. There's similar effects is to Malaysia. So again, Malaysia attracts temporary migrants, worker in plantations, manufacturing, and service. So other Asian countries, people from other Asian countries may go to Malaysians with that. Again, policies favor short-term contracts, creating precarity and social marginalization. Australia, I will talk a little bit more so about the current subclass visas 482 and 408, which they are specific working visa, where they are visas that are given to people to work in the skill shortage, such as your healthcare, as I mentioned before, your hospitality, and your agriculture. People on these visas, they are dependent on the employers, and they have to work under conditions that is given to them. So example, if somebody has a contract of full time, so you're 38, 39 hours a week, they're working in the disability sector, maybe the 8 working hours in one day is broken into three-hour shifts: morning, afternoon, and night. And the person who is under that visa, they must respect, because they have to work. So they cannot, or they will not. They can complain, but they will not complain because they don't want to lose their visa. So as you can see, we as migrants, or migrants and Jedids, they actually contribute billions in taxes, social security, and services fees annually. The international students' tuition supports university and local economies. Skilled migrants fill labor shortage, reducing business disruption and inflation risk. Complementary roles rather than jobs displacement is observed in all sectors. For statistically, from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, up to 30% of Australian population, and over 1 in 3 workers were born overseas. This means that migrants are not on the margin; they are central of the Australian workforce. The OECD reports that migrants contribute billions of dollars annually through taxation and consumer spending, significantly boosting national and local economies. And then the ABS of 2022 found that migrants business owners generates over 38 billion in value to the economy. And many of these small, medium businesses enterprise also create local jobs, showing migrants and employers, not just employees. So cultural contribution, as I mentioned before, you walk to any street in any suburb, you have restaurants that are coming from diverse backgrounds, diverse cuisines. The multicultural understanding cross-cultural communication, which now it's quite typical that a person in Australia speaks more than one language, including myself. English is my second language. We support cultural tourism and heritage preservation, and we enhance the appreciation and recognition of diversity in the public life. Like even all the festivals that we have on a yearly basis, your lunar calendar, so your Chinese New Year, or your Diwali, so which is the festivals of the lights, which is the Hindu. You have Christmas pageant, you have the Mardi Gras, the gay parade. So it's all inclusiveness of people coming from all the different diverse backgrounds and beliefs and structure. Skills and knowledge exchange. So migration promotes global knowledge to transfer and professional skills development. So people are coming with skills. So who's coming on a working visa? They actually bring in the skills that they already know, as well as learning their new skills. So international collaboration foster innovation and research advancement across the sector. So, in conclusion, myths about labor migration persist despite evidence of economic, social, and cultural contribution. Countering misinformation promotes empathy, inclusion, and fair understanding on mobility dynamics. Education, policy reforms, and inclusive dialogue dismantle discriminatory structures. Inclusive Australia values migrants and co creators of prosperity, culture, and sustainability. We need a strong call to action for awareness and solidarity. And mostly, we need to show empathy. So, the myths about labor migration persist despite the strong differences, misinformation, stereotypes born from the media, which it just it informs society of the lies. And then education, policy reform, and inclusive community initiates play a key role in dismantling discriminatory structures. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Have a good afternoon.